Would you help me celebrate this band one more time? Didn't they do a wonderful? Enjoy all of that beautiful music. And if you could do this for me, would you just take 3 seconds and give God a hand clap of praise if you don't? I'm going to try it one more time because I know that some of you that went to the game cheered, and even if after the rain stopped, that you were willing to weather the storm. And if you're at your favorite concert, you're gonna clap, and if you're at your favorite team's game, you're not going to be inhibited. So would you just do me one more favor, and just, if God woke you up this morning and you know that God started you on your way, and if you know that God put breath in your body and you're not ashamed to tell someone that you love him and that you're thankful, let's just let heaven know that we're grateful again to be here tonight. Would you just thank God again? That's more like it. That's more like it. I'm so honored. I want to quickly say I'm very honored and humbled. I give God praise for this wonderful opportunity to his son Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit who governs and guides us even now. I want to thank Pastor Blake Grundy. Would you help me celebrate him who leads this ministry here? We're doing a lot of clapping tonight, but I won't do that because he's been a genuine brother, and I want to thank him. And I also want to thank the New Sunlight Baptist Church family who's here, all of the sisters and brothers. Thank God for them. Christian Anthony is one of the leaders, student leaders and athletes on this campus, so I'm grateful to him, and Elijah Washington, who's on the staff with the football team, and so I'm grateful to them. We have some alums, some alumni from McNeese who are members of our church, and so grateful that they are supportive, so very grateful. I've got my wife and my daughters and other family and friends who are here, and so I'm very grateful. I'm not going to delay any longer than that, though. I know you came not to hear me go on and on about anything except get into the Word. Is that all right? All right. So I want to invite you all to the book of 2 Chronicles. Again, I'm serving, just finished a year as pastor at New Sunlight Baptist Church. I want to say up front that many of you already have churches, but if you don't have a church, know that you're always welcome on Sunday mornings at 11 at the New Sunlight Baptist Church. And then, of course, we have Bible study and prayer meeting on Wednesday evenings, 6:30 and 7. So, but come with me tonight briefly to 2 Chronicles 34. The 34th chapter of 2 Chronicles, and I want to make sure that we look at verses 1 and 2. 2 Chronicles 34, and I want to look at verses 1 and 2. I'm going to read from the English Standard Version, but whatever version or translation you have, you can follow along with us. It says, Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, and walked in the ways of David his father, and he did not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. That's enough. And on tonight, I want to teach from the subject, measuring our success. Measuring our success. You know, Albert Einstein once said that we should try not to become a person of success, right, but rather try to become persons of value. Yeah. And I thought that would strike a chord with you, because it struck a chord with me. It resonated with me in my spirit that one of the smartest and most intelligent men to ever live said, with all of his renowned success and all of his fame and all of his significance, he said, though, that the true key to significance is not to search and desire and go after merely success, but to try to become a person of value. That your life ought to mean something, that your life and your living ought to have an impact on someone besides you, on your neighborhood, on your community, in your school, on your campus, to be a person of value. Years ago, when Drake, the renowned rapper and entertainer, was on his way up, and Trey Songz, and those of you who listen to pop and R&B and hip-hop, those two brothers got together years ago, and they did a song called Successful. It's all right to admit that you listen to something other than gospel, and it's all right. But those two brothers came together and they did a song called Successful. And in the chorus, all they kept saying was, I just want to be successful. In the song, if you go back and listen to it, it's probably over 10 years old now. But they said, I just want to be successful. But when I listened to that years ago, and I know I don't look it, but I'm 37, so when that song came out, I was much younger, and I knew all the lyrics to everything. But I listened to that, and it struck me because it made me raise the question, and that is, how much are we willing to do and or even compromise in order to be successful in the world's eyes? How far are we willing to go? How much are we willing to let go of just to be deemed successful? Well, the critical matter, I believe, students, tonight, for every child of God, is that pursuing our dreams and our aspirations and achieving our goals is only truly rewarding if the path we take is pleasing in God's eyes. I wish if I was at New Sunlight, I'd say, do I have a witness right there? And folk would say, preach, pastor, or amen, hallelujah, say that again. So you don't mind talking back to me tonight, do you? You don't mind if it's an interactive exercise that we can have call and response, is that all right? So don't feel free, if you want to respond, please do that. But the key to our success, students, is that we have to understand the path that we take has everything to do with the success we achieve. Because our accomplishments and the significance of those accomplishments must always be tied to the quality of our approach. Because watch this, if I am successful according to the world's standards, but I fail in God's eyes at being someone who strives to be righteous and strives to live holy and strives to be genuine, then what does it matter if I gain the whole world and forfeit and lose or exchange my soul? And so Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and what? All the other things that you and I desire, they shall be added. Have you ever seen God just add to your life? Have you ever watched God place his unseen hands into your situation and just add what you need? Add money to your bank account, add gas to your car, add protection to your walk home.
Yes, sir.
Add guidance to your journey through this life, through this campus. Add hope and add possibility and add all that you need if you seek him first. I like what Proverbs says, because Proverbs says the plans of the heart belong to man or woman, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of men and women are pure in our eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. And then Proverbs 16 also says, commit your work to the Lord, and your plans shall be established. And so tonight I want us to look at what it means to measure our success. What does it really mean to measure, to look at closely what it means to be successful? Well, I decided, Pastor Grundy, that we would look at Josiah's life tonight, because I think that even at 8 years old, Josiah is a wonderful picture of what it means to measure godly success. And so, in the text tonight, we find there's a young man named Josiah, and his story is one in which we get a glimpse of a young man who sought to please God in all that he did. Josiah is highlighted as one who received a good evaluation for his endeavors. The account of his life is a presentation of the impact one's accomplishments can have when they are achieved in service to the Lord. And so when we look at Scripture and we find out that Josiah was only 8 years old, but that despite his age, that he is an example of how much God can do with you if you surrender your life to him. Do you know that if you surrender your mind and surrender your skills and surrender your talents and surrender your gifts, that God can take those and he can take you places that you cannot take yourself?
Yes, sir.
And so when I look at this, I don't want to take too long, but in our text tonight, I just really want to drive home one theme, one thesis, one sermon idea, if you will. If you don't remember anything else I've said, remember this, that one's desire to obtain God's approval in all things enables them to accomplish great things.
That's good.
That the secret to our success, the only reason I can be great in this life as a child of God, is if I'm always mindful that I'm trying to please him and not really please men and women. And here's the problem with that. Sometimes you're going to make other folk mad. Sometimes when you're a Christian and you take a stand for an issue that you have convictions on, that's going to offend some people. Sometimes you're going to offend the sensibilities of even those in your own family. And so don't be surprised if every now and then you have cousins or aunts and uncles or grandparents or even brothers and sisters who look at you a little funny when life takes you in a certain direction and it doesn't line up with what the family tradition says. Sometimes it's hard to stand for Christ when you know that those you love are standing in another station in life. But our challenge tonight is to know that God will always bless your life if you measure your success according to his standards. So it's just three things I want to give you all tonight that God has given me that I pray would be helpful to you all as you walk the halls of this campus day in and day out. And that is, when we look at this text, I want you to first of all look at the fact that if we're going to measure success according to God's standards, that we must first understand that we must be defined more by our principles than by our position.
Yes, sir.
Be defined more by your principle than your position. Why? Because when I look at the text, it says in verse 1, Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign. That's Josiah's position. He reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. See, his reign signals his position because his position signals his command as king. But though he reigned as king, and though reigning as king signaled his position, his significance was not tied really to his position, but his principle. Because the text says that in verse 2, he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord. Can I drive down the street really fast? You can have a position and not use the position in a way that glorifies God.
Yes, sir.
You can be in a fraternity, in a sorority. You can be an athlete. You can be a leader on this campus, but it's not the position you occupy, but it's what you do with the position. Because your principle will have to keep you. Your character will have to keep you. Your integrity will have to keep you when your position affords you options that might take you down a dangerous path. See, sometimes, if we're not careful, we'll look at people judgmentally when their sin gets exposed. But here's what I want to ask you. Have you ever thought about the fact that if God exposed all of our sins, not just action, but thoughts? See, all of us would run out of here right now if God put everything we were thinking about last night or thinking about last week. And see, some of us looking at me like, Pastor, you, me? Yes, you. Yes, you. Every now and then, even we have to ask God, God, guard our mind.
Yeah.
Guard my heart, guard my spirit, because if we're not careful, we can be guilty, watch this, of focusing all of our attention on the sins that have been exposed while we walk around silently wrestling with our own issues. Look at your neighbor and say, I've got issues. See, that's hard for some of us to say. That doesn't feel good to tell somebody, I've got issues. But thank Holy Ghost, you remember what Paul the Apostle said in Romans 7? Paul the Apostle said in Romans 7, the good that I want to do, I don't do that. This is Paul the Apostle now. He said, the good I want to do, I don't do that. But the evil that I said I would not do, that's what I find myself doing. That evil's always present. So he goes on to say, oh, wretched man that I am. Because even Paul was honest enough to admit that there's a tug of war between spirit and flesh. So that we must always remember we've got to be defined, students, more by our principle, our character, our conviction, than merely the position we occupy. But very quickly, in addition to being defined more by your principle than your position, Pastor, when I look at this text, I also found out that we must discern the impact of our influences. Because look at the text. It says, and this struck me, that Josiah did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, and then watch this. He walked in the ways of David his father. Hold on, slow down, back up. I always tell my son, like, read the Bible too fast, you'll miss something. Text says that he walked in the ways of David his father. There's only one issue with that. David's not his father.
Set it up, Doc.
Josiah's father was Ammon. Ammon's daddy was Manasseh. The Bible says that Manasseh, Josiah's granddaddy, did what was evil in the eyes of the Lord. But Josiah had a righteous evaluation in God's eyes. What am I saying? You've got to be careful of actually underestimating the power of a negative influence. Josiah's own grandfather was a bad influence, had a bad legacy. Let's drive up in your driveway. What influences must you keep your distance from? Who must you love from a distance? Not shun, not keep away, but who must you love in Christ? Love as a Christian, but keep a safe distance. Who is it in your family? Who is it in your sorority, your fraternity, that you got to be careful of? Who is it that you must be very mindful that if you're not careful, that you'll find yourself being influenced rather than being the influence? Josiah, even at age 8, it said he walked in the ways of David his father. Now that's interesting to me, and here's what really got me. David was just as low down as anybody else. You all have read about David, haven't you? All right, we're going to talk back to me now. It's all right. I want you to talk back to me. So you read about David, right? We all know David was pretty low down.
Yeah.
But what was the difference between David and Saul? The difference was both David and Saul were low down, both were guilty of sin, but watch this. Psalm 51 says that David was sincere before God when his sins got exposed.
Yeah.
He was sincere. Saul tried to lie to the prophet Samuel. Manasseh and Ammon and many of the other kings that preceded Josiah were dishonest and corrupt and evil and full of iniquity and unrighteousness. But Josiah said he walked in the ways of David because David knew after his sin, as Psalm 51 says, was staring at him. After Nathan came to him and told him what he had done with Bathsheba and how he had not only dishonored and disgraced himself and Bathsheba and her husband, but he had ultimately dishonored God. He got down on his knees and said, Lord, create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. So Josiah knew that even though David was not perfect, David was someone who could be followed. His influence was of such stature and significance because he was a sincere servant of the Lord. So you and I, by our principle more than our position. But finally, students, I want to leave you with this. We must be disciplined in the midst of distractions. If you're going to be a student and be successful, you're going to have to be disciplined in the midst of distractions. Anybody ever been distracted in here? Anybody ever walk across campus and get distracted? You were trying your best to focus your mind on biology and chemistry and English literature and all these other, and engineering and architecture and mathematics, and you got distracted. In this life, you and I must develop discipline in the midst of distraction. Here's how we know, because the text says Josiah did not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. Now, does this mean Josiah was perfect? No. Does this mean Josiah was sinless? No. It simply means, though, that over time, he had to develop the discipline of keeping his journey at the forefront of his mind. Because guess what? If you and I get mixed up with the wrong person who's going nowhere, guess where we'll be going? Nowhere.
Nowhere.
You can spend 4, 5, 6, 7 years and go nowhere. Be at homecoming and still going nowhere. Driving around in a nice car, going nowhere. New shoes on, going nowhere. New bag on your shoulders, ladies, but going nowhere. So we must be disciplined in the midst of distraction. I'm done, but I want to leave you with this. There's a powerful story I read, and it's about a brother named Clarence Jordan, and he had a farm called Collegiate farm. And this was a white brother who was white, but he was a Christian. And he decided he wanted white folk and black folk, especially those who were poor, to be able to be blessed by the resources and the land that he had stewardship of. So he had a farm, and he decided in Georgia in the 20th century that he would make sure that he cultivated crops so that those who were poor, whether they were black or white, would be welcome to be beneficiaries of his cultivation. Well, he was able to do this successfully for about 13 and a half years, but in the 14th year, the Ku Klux Klan and others who were tired of him being what they called an agitator and being somebody who was rabble-rousing and who was stirring up trouble and who was doing things to offend their sensibilities, they decided they were going to take him out once and for all. And so he woke up one morning to find out that the whole farm had been burned. The whole farm was burned. And the story goes that he walked out, and in the midst of the smoldering farm and what was left of it, he's out there and he's got a hoe, a gardening tool in his hand. He's chopping, he's getting rid of some of the mess. He's trying to chop at some of the soil, and this reporter shows up and she begins to ask him, sir, we know you've been here several years. We know that you've been trying to help a lot of people. And we all admit that this is really tough and challenging to see that what you've worked so hard at has now gone up in smoke. And she said, but why are you out here still digging as if something can grow in soil that has been burned? And she said, do you think that the work you've done has been a success? And you know what his response was? He said, I am just as successful as Jesus was on the cross. Because he said, on the cross, what looked like failure was really a picture of faithfulness. Because Jesus had to fail in order to succeed. He had to suffer and die and look like he was failing in order to be raised up again on the third day. And so just as this man said that Jesus on the cross looked like a failure, but he really wasn't a failure, he was faithful, that's what you and I have to be. We have to be faithful when it's tough. We have to be faithful when you're broke. You have to be faithful when you're discouraged. You have to be faithful when you have teachers and professors that may not be Christian and may not have your best interests at heart. You have to be faithful when things aren't going well. You have to be faithful when you find out that the person you thought you were in love with is no longer in love with you. You've got to be faithful when things get tough, when your heart gets broken, when you feel betrayed, when your mind is uncertain, when your spirit is troubled. You've got to be faithful. And that, my friends, is the true measure of success. Be defined more by principle and conviction and integrity. Because if you turn on the television, you can see socially, politically, and I don't care which side of the aisle you stand on, America's in trouble right now. And the church has to be a beacon of light. The church, not the black church, not the white church, not the red church, or the brown church, but the church. All of us who serve Jesus can agree on one thing, that Jesus is Lord and He's Savior. And if we're serving Him sincerely, then we can affect change in all of our spheres of influence. But remember, discern the impact of the influences, because you don't want to walk in the ways of somebody who's going nowhere. And remember to be disciplined. You're not going to do it all. You're going to mess up. I had to make some phone calls to my parents, and I'm a pastor today. My father and mother heard me make some calls. Dad, this is where I am. This is what happened. Anybody ever had to make a phone call like that? I guess nobody here. Well, I got a few brothers. Okay, thank you, guys. A few fellas have been honest. You've had to make a phone call. Tell your friends, this is where I am. This is who I was with. Come get me. Because in life, we're all going to make mistakes. But the good news is, if you stay faithful, and if you stay committed to the work of the Lord, and you serve as unto the Lord, then you too will be successful. God bless you, God keep you, is my prayer. I want to very quickly, Pastor, just make sure that we can give the opportunity for someone, if someone wants prayer. Can we all just stand together? If someone needs prayer, if someone is in search of deeper understanding and in need of prayer, in need of rededication, or in need even of clarity and certainty and conviction about your soul and your salvation, we want to make sure that we give you the time and give you the opportunity to come so that we can pray over you and so that we can ask God to come into your heart or to guide you and your mind and your spirit. And so if there's someone here and you need to come down, and you need to come down for a special prayer, we want to ask that you do that. If you want to stay after, I know the pastor said you all sometimes do that, we can make sure that you get prayed with after the service is over. But I want to go ahead and just lift up a prayer, and then I know the band is here. Would you bow with me? God, we thank you for tonight. We thank you for all of the students. God, we thank you that each of them has purpose. Each of them has a future. Each of them has significance and value because you created them, that you gave them all that they have, that you brought them here for this season in their lives. And we pray now that you would bless each and every one of them in a special way. We pray that you would meet every need, financial, educational. We pray that you would protect them and watch over them as they walk the halls and the yard of this campus. We pray that you bless Pastor Grundy and bless all of the students and leadership and all who make up this Baptist Collegiate ministry. Continue to be the God that we know you are. You hold us in the palm of your powerful hands. And we thank you in advance that you can still save, you can still deliver, and you can still bring up an emerging generation of young men and women who are unafraid and who are unapologetic about their love for your Son, Jesus Christ. So we thank you now in advance that you will get glory in each and every one of their circumstances, even now. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.